So when you were dating her, did you ever get to go to any of the events backstage?
Yeah, I got to meet most of the guys. Really, I would say that probably one of the nicest guys by far was John Cena.
I agree. Yeah,
and he congratulated us on the wedding and this and that, which was real. I was like, man, he knows about our wedding.
He seems like a class guy.
Yeah, he was a really, really nice guy. Triple H, amazing, really, really nice guy. Vince. It was a quick handshake and then he was off to do whatever he had to do.
Yeah,
how's Vince walking? Because he had the same surgery I had.
At the time, he was walking fine. So this was, how long ago did he have the surgery?
You've never seen him tear both quad tendons?
I don't think so.
Oh.
This was probably 4 years ago, I guess. So was it longer than that?
I don't know. Lenny would know better than me.
Okay, yeah, he was walking fine.
So he rehabbed 100%.
Yeah, he was walking fine. He was still really big, too.
so there's hope for you, bully.
Kane is very nice. Never met Undertaker. The Dudley boys are really nice. They're cool guys. They're actually fun to hang out with.
Bubba's kind of a douchebag.
So I'll tell you who I fucking hate.
Good dirt here.
Yeah. So I hate Seth Rollins. And you guys know who he is?
Yeah.
So Seth Rollins was sending, while I was still married, now I'll call her my ex-wife, naked pictures of himself, getting out of the shower and shit. And I saw it one day. And it caused a huge fight between me and her. And she's like, oh, that's just how he is. He's a flirty guy. And, he even got in trouble for having his dick out on Twitter or something like that. And I'm like, but he knows that you're married. What the fuck is going on? So I know that he knew that she was married to me. And the fact that he was still doing that, if I ever got my hands on him, I would have ripped his fucking arms off. He was just like a little pussy.
See that, Jay? He would have ripped your arms off too if you followed through with your challenge.
Here comes the dirt.
Yeah, he was sending nudes out of the shower.
Brad, no one wants to get in the ring with me when I get to 275.
What was in your mind when you challenged PJ? I would still like to know.
That's why everybody was telling me to make sure that I text them and let them know that I got out of here safe tonight. I was like, no one's fighting anybody tonight.
No,
That's the bedroom bullshitter. Yeah, you're probably one of the most requested people.
Really?
On.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You know who they want on next? Jane. I'm getting a lot of messages to get Jane.
After this one, they're probably going to want her even more too.
Who?
After this episode, they're going to
sure.
even more.
They want Jane on.
Voluntarily give up my microphone and not be here for Jane.
They want Jane on, but without Jason.
Okay, sounds good.
So,
is there truth to the story about?
You might be able to train
Jane told me on Halloween she had a Halloween
sick
party.
fuck.
I think she said that Jay showed up with a machete.
True.
And that you guys were both shit-faced out of your mind, scaring people at the party, and that she asked you to leave and that you wouldn't leave.
He went as O.J. Simpson. It was a Halloween party.
She didn't know who the characters were when she was telling me the story.
OJ, man, my hero. Jane liked everything until her mother got real uncomfortable with the machete.
He showed up at the party with a machete, and the first thing he says is, "I'm here to kill white women." So
it was in character.
Well, we knew that.
No, they asked us nice to put the machete in the car, and everything was fine.
I believe you. Well, Jason was egging her on that night when they were telling me that story, and
everything was fine until we were gone. And
she was saying that Jason needed more positive influence in his life, and if I would come back around and start helping him again.
What is she trying to say?
That we're a bunch of degenerates.
Well,
she said, PJ, you were supposed to be there. Yeah.
Well, she said that she always liked Andrew, but that Andrew had disassociated himself with Jason. And she didn't really say anything about Lenny.
The shtick with Jason has gotten old. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I used to be able to do it. Yep. Go film the bullshit fake workout videos. Hats off to Brad. I cannot play along with that shtick anymore.
The hand that feeds you.
Yes.
For anybody Absolutely. I've ever seen or heard about. Yep.
It was genuine at the old Delray Fitness.
I absolutely.
We were there for. It was 100% genuine.
That guy will burn a bridge with somebody for $15 PayPal.
I used to think it was sad, but now I find it to be kind of disgusting, to be honest with you.
His actions, you mean? Yeah. And it's amazing because a lot of the shit that we film, I'm cringing behind the camera knowing that he's too lazy to edit shit out. He'll edit out stupid shit, but he'll leave in stuff that he shouldn't fucking leave in. And he has all the power to,
I think once you get from the point of not feeling sorry for him anymore and just being disgusted by him, then it's easy to just blow him off at that point.
I just like to call him out on all his bullshit. Every week, there's more bullshit.
You're the main one who's always done it. So
Why is he still taking progress pics?
I'm curious. We should take bets on who's going to be next after Tony Hughes. That's probably the most interesting one.
Once that bridge gets burned, who knows? It's becoming harder and harder for him to find people who don't know anything about the saga. I'm surprised Tony took the bait. Like I said, he is.
Very nice guy.
My idea was that we wanted to invite you here to use our platform to help clear your good name after Jason ran you through the fucking dirt to Tony Hughes. Because we know those are all fucking lies. And he's eventually going to turn on Tony Hughes and order 66. Tony Hughes.
He actually didn't respond to me. I'll have to look at the text message. So when that went down, of course, as you guys know, anytime Jason does anything, before I even see it, 100 people will make sure that I see it. And so I actually saw it first on the Real Chris Braz page. You know, he had done his little edit that I thought was funny. And I always find him to be, at this point, he's been very pro PJ and pretty anti Jason.
I think Chris Braz is fair. He's always seems to be on the correct side.
So do I. But I had a conversation with Chris Braz where he just feels at this point Jason's just not a good person. And I honestly at this point agree. And so when he put that video up, I sent it to him and I wrote, "What's this about, Jason? After all I've done for you and the money that I've given you over the years, this is what you want to say about me." Now, before that, literally one day before that, he messaged me a Star Wars thing like he always does.
That new Star Wars flick looks awesome.
It does look good. And then so he sent me the video, was Chest and Buys with Brad, 10-year anniversary. And he said, "Celebrity, my 10-year on YouTube, huge deal. Thank you. You're on my YouTube. Huge deal, huge deal. Big deal. Thank you. Please share. Please post on your Instagram." So usually when he reaches out to me, it's just he wants me to do something for him.
He shot you first.
Well, now that he did something that I have to reach out to him for, he doesn't respond. He has not responded to me since this has gone up. And I know a bunch of people have said stuff to him.
When I moved to Florida a couple months ago, I was staying Airbnbs, whatnot, and I was a huge fan when I came down here. I lived with Jason for 2 weeks, and I went in there as a fan, and after the 2 weeks, you realize no matter what problems he has, he's a piece of shit.
I mean, so if you go through the history, obviously, well, I met Jason alone with his mom the very first time. And then after that, Andrew was the first person. All the way back then till now, the progression of Jason has, in the past couple of years, just spiraled out worse and worse and worse. And the thing that I think that, now I don't want to sit here and have this be like, let's just 2 hours talk shit about Jason, because that's not what I want to do. But I think that what a lot of people don't understand is that Jason plays his character up a lot, and he actually knows a lot more about what he's doing. Tony Hughes, for instance, when I spoke to him about it, he said at first, just like me, that he thought that Jason was, I don't want to say he used the word retarded, but you know, that, okay, this guy's, well, let's just say retarded. Right? And then when he met him, though, he realized, no, that's not the case at all. So when I first met him the first time, I was like, this guy's a retard, right? This is like ridiculous. And then when I met him with his mom, Jane, the first time, I pulled Aaron aside and I was like, look, here's the deal. I want to go through this video completely different. This kid's actually not retarded. I think that he is definitely somehow mentally handicapped. I'm not a doctor, but I diagnosed him that day saying he's either some sort of like high functioning autistic, perhaps Asperger's syndrome. I'm like, but he's kind of like a child in a way, but he's with it. So from that start, I was like, let's try to swing this positive, which for the beginning phase was absolutely what it was, which is what I also think for everybody that starts.
Which Jason. I said in the video the other day, phases of Jason.
Yes. The initial phase of Jason, which I think most people found to be pretty entertaining. You had Andrew behind the camera, which, not to suck Andrew's dick, I think that was...
I won't stop you, you know.
I think that
What a Freudian slip, PJ.
I feel that Andrew brought a part of Jason out that people found to be like endearing and very entertaining in the beginning. And then you had the different guys that would come in, Lenny and Big Rich and Saul and all the funny characters from the gym, the guys that, like the day that I went there with you, the same guys that were kind of floating around. It was a funny group. Jason started getting more and more popular. And then you had people that definitely wanted to use Jason, of course, to get their views out. And then you had the really, really scummy guys that came in and had him doing all the jackass type ridiculous bullshit.
Johnny Fitness.
He is obsessed with the views. That's what he cares about.
That's it.
But in the beginning, it was, first of all, my perspective, which I've said before, I think you guys have heard, is I said, if I can get this kid in shape, I'm the best fucking coach ever. I don't think anybody can do it.
No, you're right.
And that was my objective from the start. And we definitely had fun in the old Iron Mag Labs days, which is how it really started. And then, of course, the posing video outside my house, which was one of my favorite videos that we ever shot. That part was all fun. It was once he started getting in with other guys and kind of spinning out of control, he got so obsessed with the views that he didn't care about what he was doing to himself or anyone around him. And I don't think at that point, maybe you guys, but I know that I didn't matter to him anymore. It was all about who's going to get me the most views.
No, he couldn't give a shit if any of us dropped dead today. Tomorrow, he'd go right ahead his plan tomorrow.
PJ,
Business as usual.
I have a question I've been meaning to ask you, actually. Someone told me, is it true? Do you guys remember when Jason did that whole shtick with he's running for president? Is it true he messaged you and asked you to donate to his campaign?
Yes, he did. 100%.
Can you believe that?
So I was like, Jason, so he actually, I could probably find the text messages. So
He's got no shame.
he broke down, somebody gave him some silly information on what the requirements were to be able to run for president, and that how he basically qualified, he fit the requirements. And I said, Jason, whoever's telling you this is just fucking with you. This is not serious. And he really was pushing it off as it being serious for a little while. But he has had a number of things, like, you know, the movie that he was going to star in, and he sent me the fake contract that somebody had sent to him, and it was ridiculous. I still, I would say the first, I don't even want to say 50%, 75% of our relationship kept trying to spin it positive with him. And a lot of people wouldn't imagine this side of Jason, but I know you know. Jason had a very, very troubled side. There was one night where it affected us pretty intensely, where I got a call from my dad, and he was like, hey man, that boy that you're helping apparently is like saying he's going to commit suicide on Facebook. So I saw the Facebook post. I called him. Now, this is when I lived in the old house where we did the posing.
Right.
Videos. This is like got to be at least 4 years ago.
This is when you cut ties with them because of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, please take that off right now, because you're causing me to get calls from accounts now. I said, look, you know, you're not going to kill yourself. You can't put stuff like that out on the internet, because number one, you have one side where people are going to take it seriously and want to rush to help you. Then you have another side where
That'll tell you to do it.
yeah, and you have the other side where people are going to be against you, and a number of bad things are going to happen. So that night, he actually broke down and just started crying. I wasn't even married yet. That's how far this is going back. And my ex-wife was like, why are you talking to this boy crying on the phone? And I was like, look, I feel bad for the kid. He's just can't keep it together. He came over the next day, and we spent a bunch of time together, and he started telling me about how, you know, his dad died when he was really young, and I'm like a father figure to him. And so whether that's bullshit or not,
he knew how to manipulate you.
Yeah, and now I look at it that way. But at the time, I felt like I really wanted to like be kind of like a father figure to him. So then I reached out to Jane, and she said the same thing, which
she does the same shit as him.
I now have a little bit different perspective of Jane, but Jane wanted me to really guide him and help him.
Mentor him.
Well, that could
Yeah, I really wanted you to fuck her.
She wants anybody to fuck her.
So that was the objective in the beginning. And then you had the idiot Adam phase, right? And that didn't work. And then who was after that?
Adam got him. He was right there. And then Jason gave up. He threw in
Well, the funny thing with that was, and this drove me crazy too, just because I was doing business with Adam, is I put so much time into Jason. I feel like Adam got in at the right time where Jason gave him all the credit. He even still to this day, he'll say to me like, remember what good shape Adam got me in?
Adam Harper era.
Yeah, how about all the stuff that I did to help you through the Adam Harper's phase?
You mean all the supplements you gave him that he tried to sell to all of us?
Jason and I did a gym video years ago. I'd say 2013 maybe. Do you remember back then you had emailed me a whole workout and diet program, and I had printed it out. And this is on video.
I remember you showed me that.
Yes, it's in one of the old videos. God knows how you'd find it. You'd have to go through hundreds and hundreds of videos. On camera, I hand it to him. I'd printed it out. And he goes, fuck this shit. Let's start with shrugs. It was shoulder.
I remember that.
And I'm like, but this is the shoulder program PJ laid out for you. We don't need that shit. He starts
I remember when you called me to tell me that you were trying to keep him on it and go through it with him. Then after Adam Harper was that Karen? Was that Coach Karen yet? Karen Yoakum?
Oh, no, this is before Coach Karen.
Okay, so this is still way, way back then, which at this point, though, it was still pretty positive. We had people all the time writing me at this point, please stop giving him stuff. There were people that got really mad because I think there was a lot of people that kind of looked at it as like, why is this guy getting all this when he's not trying, when there's a lot of up and coming people that would try really hard.
Did you see resentment from your employees?
Yes. And it took me a little while to get that, because I was like, again, still. So what I think is also funny, this we'll circle back to this a few times. My main thing that I cared about the most is I truly felt like if I could get him in shape, it would be the most monumental thing, because I don't believe that anyone could really get Jason to look the right way unless they literally were with him 24 hours.
And we've been saying that for years.
I told people I would have to move him into my house, which I'm not willing to do, and just control literally everything he does. Because people would send me videos of him at like McDonald's or just going off his plan all the time. So I knew that he was not doing any of that. So I had kind of washed my hands of the whole situation, but I still had the soft spot for him because at the time I still did think he was a good kid.
You're in phase 2.
At that point, that was when he would still come around for stuff all the time. And there was a strange phase where I was still in the old building where he was, I don't know if he switched his medication or something, or if he was just not taking his medication, but he had a lot of bad episodes at that point. And there was a day where my mom called me panicking. My mom used to come to the office a lot. Used to hang out in shipping back then. And she goes, "Can you please come here right now? That boy that you helped is in the parking lot screaming that he's going to kick this guy's ass and that he's going to kill himself." And I was like, "He's not going to do anything. I'll be there as fast as I can." And I had gotten there maybe like 15 minutes later to somebody on the outside that's not on YouTube and watching everything the way that we are. If you're somebody like my mom or just some of the random women that were in the office, he's a fairly big guy and he's screaming in the parking lot. They were scared. And so they locked the door because they didn't want him to come in, and he kept on asking for me. So I got there and he was crying and throwing a temper tantrum in the parking lot over somebody that he supposedly had just gotten into a fight with.
He's one of those guys you don't make eye contact with on the subway.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know all about that.
Well, he was saying that he had just gotten into a fight with somebody and he knocked somebody out. And then it somehow turned into how everybody hates him on YouTube. And then he started crying again. And I that was the first conversation that I had with him about, which I've had with him probably 10 times since then. You're bringing this all upon yourself. If you can't take the things that you were saying on YouTube, simple solution, just don't put videos out on YouTube anymore and it'll all go away. So he must have told that to Jane, and Jane reached out to me and asked me if I could get through to him and basically let him see that YouTube is not reality. That she was like, he believes that that's reality.
100%.
You're shaking your head. What's wrong?
Well, Jane doesn't want the YouTube videos to go away, though, because those are shekels.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the time, he was already saying how much he was getting paid at YouTube, which nobody would really believe the numbers he was really saying. The number changes up and down all the time anyway. I also try to look at it from the perspective of, let's say he doesn't do anything on YouTube anymore. He's basically limited to a life of bagging groceries at Publix. I mean,
4 hours a week.
But I don't feel that Jason could really be without adult supervision for long periods of time.
No, he should not be living on his own.
No. On the outside looking in, if you are somebody that does care about Jason even a little bit, I think that you're going to kind of be like worried about, at least back then, about what is this kid going to do to either get arrested, harm himself, maybe harm somebody else, unintentionally, but you don't know because he goes through so many crazy ups and downs. Now, I was still not cutting him off at that point. But after that is when it turned into literally him just showing up for shit. Hey, Jason's here again. And they had the shipping department had this funny thing basically where they were like, we're giving you a month's worth of products and you're not allowed to come back and ask for anything. And Chelsea was actually writing the dates down. So he would show up and he'd be like, it's been like 3 months. And she'd be like, no, it's been 2 weeks. Here's the date of the last time that you were here.
That's because he was able to sell all that shit.
So we were asking him, I was like, you must be selling this stuff. And to this day, he would never admit that he was selling anything. But I was still giving him stuff just because I thought it was completely honest. I found
still putting it on the street, and that's good marketing.
Yeah, he was getting out there somewhere.
He tried to sell me shit every time he re-upped.
Who was actually buying stuff from him, though? Just
probably 14-year-old kids.
I mean,
people at the gym must have been.
I was assuming it had to be people in the gym because some people that would be in his house would tell me, I don't really see too much Wax and Lab stuff at his house. So it's not like he had this massive stockpile there. It was going somewhere. We didn't cut him off, though, until the Rich Piana thing. Then we had no choice after that because...
The Rich Piana slap or the one where he said...
No, the slap, I was mad at Rich Piana for the slap. No, I didn't know that there was discussions beforehand.
Yeah, we all were at first until we found out everything.
Correct.
Yeah.
She deserved to get punched, not slapped.
But you're talking about when he said he got what he deserved when he died.
So this is not an exaggeration in any way. When he put the I'm glad Rich Piana died out, within a matter of one business day, we lost about 10 accounts that called my dad, who's in charge of sales, and said, honestly, like we've been putting up with your guys' craziness on social media for a while, but I think you guys know, but to the outside who's maybe just a fan of Jason or the Delray Misfits and don't realize how influential Rich Piana was, I mean, when he died, it was on TMZ. It was that big of news. When he died, there was a lot of very, very upset people. And especially the West Coast accounts where he was a really big deal, wanted no business with us anymore because they felt that we were supporting Jason Genova. And that was a major, major issue. So my dad said to me, look, I know that you've been trying to help this kid. You're oftentimes too nice for your own good. But now how nice you're being is fucking everybody else here over. So you have to think about the 30 some odd people here who are counting on you for a paycheck every week to make good decisions for this company. We're losing accounts now today. I've had people literally call me and say they won't do business with Blackstone Labs ever again because it's a shame how Jason Genova is on social media. And they actually thought it was just disgusting that we were supporting that. I was explaining to my dad, I'm like, he doesn't know what he's saying. And he goes, whether he does or doesn't, it's just honestly at this point, why are you even doing it at all? He goes, you want to help him on the side. Give him the product still on the side. You cannot be associated with him anymore on social media. And the head of my videography team, who you've met before, he was so distraught.
Is that Trevor?
Eric. Oh. Trevor was the other video guy.
Is he still with you, Trevor?
Trevor is not currently with us anymore, but he can come back. Eric had to shut off the comments, which we don't want to do that. He actually had to disable the comments on YouTube because they were so vicious in how much they hated Genova and hated everything that we were doing. And to the outsiders looking in, it just looked so bad on our YouTube. So we had to disable the comments. He was like, look, I don't know how long it's going to take for this to go away. Something has to be done to fix this. So I called him and I was like, look, honestly, leave me no choice now. And I don't know why you would ever say something that horrible. And he was like, I take it back. I take it back already. It doesn't matter.
It's already out there. That's
you can't do stuff.
Yeah.
And then he wonders why no one will collab with him, or he's basically become a pariah that no one wants anything to do with. And why, after, he claims to have been on YouTube longer than anyone else, but he still can't even break 50,000 subs.
I really didn't mean it. And I said, Jason, you try to use that excuse for all the things that you do all the time. You know in your head that you shouldn't say something like that.
He's probably going to fucking order 66 you after this podcast.
Yeah, probably. I've been ordered 66 by him.
It doesn't mean shit anymore anyway. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's lost the...
We'll veto that right now.
May I say something real quick? As a former fan of Jason, though, he did bring some positivity towards you because I learned about you through him. And it's like, wow, look how nice this guy is, who owns this supplement company, who does no obligation to deal with this kid and is going out of his way and stuff. And it actually made me purchase some Blackstone products and really appreciate the company and stuff like that. So he did bring you some good.
Oh, I definitely think that he brought...
To piggyback on that point, that was one of the points I think Jason was making with Tony Hughes, is that Jason kind of claims to have been the one to put Blackstone on the map and PJ Braun on the map. What's your response to that?
So that was the thing that
Leonard's laugh.
No, he might have brought attention to PJ, but if it wasn't for PJ and the quality of his supplements and stuff, it wouldn't have mattered.
This is something that I've explained to people before. Bringing attention, whether it's positive or negative, there are certain people that can certainly bring attention. And Jason brought a lot of attention. In the beginning, there was a lot of people that would write me and say, I think it's really great what you're doing with Jason. It's really awesome. I think you're a stand-up guy. I like to see that.
Because they don't know him.
On the outside looking in, people kind of looked at it as, first of all, I don't think most people even realize how old Jason is. I think a lot of people thought I was helping this kid. I would get messages saying it was really nice what you're doing for that kid, keep it up. I think there was a certain demographic of people that really wanted to see Jason do well. And there was certainly people that didn't like him in the beginning, but I think it was for the most part pretty overwhelmingly positive. At the end, though, it was completely flopped the other way, where I would say it was probably 20% positive, 80% negative.
That's how it is now on his channel.
And everywhere I go now, literally everywhere I go in the world, it's always the same kind of assholey little punk that'll have the same wise ass smile that'll be lingering around, and in my head I'll be like, this is a Genova thing, right? that'll kind of out of the side of his mouth be like,
trooper,
where's Jason? Everywhere. It's happened to me in Switzerland, Australia, England, Germany, Mexico. And I always joking around, I'm like, I didn't bring him on this trip, and then they'll laugh and then they'll leave because that's all they want to say. We know we're never going to escape it ever. It's going to be something that lives on forever, and I'm okay with that because there were a lot of fun times in the beginning. And there was a lot of positivity in the beginning. It just, now we can't even escape. There's a core group of trolls that they harass everyone that's associated with them. And so to the newer people,
they are relentless.
They are. It's ridiculous. So we'll have newer people come in. And this is where it gets frustrating, where we'll have newer people come in, whether it's accounts or new athletes, that'll be like, who are these people like that have piss in their name or anything Star Wars related? And I'm like, oh, I probably should have warned you about that are just messaging me nonstop and writing on my stuff. And I'm like, look, just if you ignore it, it'll go away, which now is probably not going to happen for the people that are listening to this. There's probably a group of those people that listen to everything that you guys say for more material. But there are still a lot of people, like after this last fiasco, I'll call it, that reached out to me and they were like, man, this kid never stops with the negativity. That just still watch from the old positive days. I will say, though, this is a fact. His coupon code never did shit. It never did anything impressive, ever. And we left it up for a long, long time.
What about you, Lenny? Any questions for PJ? You've been very quiet.
No, it's like a sponge. It was very entertaining. I like PJ's approach, his voice. He'd be a great professor at a university.
So thank you. Oh, and this is what I sent to Tony Hughes when I first saw it. First of all, he was misdiagnosed by his first doctor, but he also has a mild form of Tourette's, even signs of paranoid schizophrenia. He's on all sorts of medication. So back then, in that time when I was quote unquote using him to make myself famous, I was like, if I can help him get in good shape, I am the greatest coach of all time. So it was like my personal mission. So I spent so much time with him, and he was so emotionally unstable that I like fathered him in a way, because he lost his dad when he was very young, and I became close with his mom, who's also sadly pretty nuts. And I really tried to help him. The problem is, unfortunately, he's become a bad person, which sounds a little crazy to say about somebody that's got these things going on mentally, but there's numerous videos where the other guys in the Delray Misfits are kind of like making fun of him, taking advantage of me, and he's laughing and saying things like, oh, I just use him for money. And he's done it numerous times. Like, people have sent me the clips over the years, and I'd always say to him, like, Jason, why do you say these things about me? I'm the only one that's trying to really help you. And he's like, oh, I just do it for the views. And I'm like, yeah, but do you understand that it's like hurting my feelings a little bit and making everyone around me think that it's ridiculous for us to help you? So finally, when the whole Piana thing happened, we had accounts that were calling my dad and saying, I won't do business with you anymore. Anything that you guys are doing, celebrating this moron, we refuse to associate with you. So we lost about 12 accounts that day. And my dad called me and was like, please disassociate yourself with this kid. He's caused so many problems over the years. And on top of that, any new athletes that we were signing, his trolls, he has the most aggressive trolls, would harass them and be like, saying things about Jason. They would be like, who is this Jason Genova? Why are people harassing me so bad? I even had a doctor. I did a video with a doctor who did some Juvederm injections underneath my eyes for my black circles. And afterwards, people were harassing the doctor, and she was like, who are all these piss trooper people? So you just have to be very careful, because I know that you're being a nice guy and wanting to help. And I'll tell you that those trolls are a lot to deal with, man. So after I sent him that, he said, thank you very much for the warning. I will tread carefully here. It helps me understand a lot. Blah, blah, blah. And he said Jason messages him at least 6 times per day, every day.
That's not that bad for Jason.
I made his messages a priority, but it's kind of relentless. And there's no way that I could keep up with the messages. I'm afraid that it'll get worse. And I told him straight up, oh, it'll get way worse. It'll get way, way worse.
Until he stops giving Jason free shit.
Correct.
Then it will stop. Then I'll get thrown under the bus. Then Jason will come to me and Brad. He's a liar. He's a backstabber. He used me. He's a piece of shit.
I still, in my
and then I'll order 66 him.
That's right.
It's coming.
I would say in my Q&A, there's, no matter what, at least 1 or 2 Genova trolls every day. And I let them stay because they're not really dicks. They can be a little annoying sometimes, but I don't throw them out. I let them stay. But today, one of them was like, what kind of results do you think that Jason's going to get with Tony Hughes? And I was like, it's going to end bad, just like it does every other time. It's just a matter of when.
Which one of us, and this is a question somebody posed in the comments here, which one of us did Jason talk the most shit about to you?
I would say it, Brad. Yeah.
Well, there's that one video where he's calling Brad a bully, and he says
that Brad's a bully. Yes.
When I saw that video with Eduardo going, he's showing you shit like a little bitch, and that's why
I would say the least was Lenny, but Brad the most, Lenny the least.
But yet he still stalks me for a video every week.
Of course, yeah.
And I verbally abuse. If anybody said the shit to me that I say to him, I would never have any association with him
Every
again.
time that I would catch him saying something bad about me, his scapegoat was always Brad is telling me to say these things and forcing me to do it.
Of course, blame me. It's all right.
Brad is like a devil. Brad is like that devil on your shoulder that does whisper evil things in your ear.
Jay, you want a drink?
Yes.
It's going to do some blow.
You got an angel on one shoulder, Brad on the other shoulder. And you have decisions to make.